Hello, I'm Charles. My wife loves books. She's got way too many books and not enough bookshelves. We've got these super wide steps and this nice empty wall. So I thought, hey, boom, bookshelves on the wall. And I'll show you how to make those. Well, I'll show you some of the details. It's basically measuring, marking, cutting, drilling, gluing, screwing. That's all there is to it. And that'll be it. Alright, some of the design considerations or obstacles I guess I had to overcome was there's a light switch here at the bottom and there's a vent or a HVAC intake air filter up there. So at first I was thinking start the steps further back or the bookshelves further back, and then I thought nah, this wouldn't be too bad if it was behind the bookshelves. And then I was going to just completely skip that, but then again it worked out in the design. I was able to put the bookshelves around that, and I've put in a shorter shelf or a more narrow shelf that won't actually house books, but it makes the bookcases look better from the bottom of the steps and kind of hides that intake filter without blocking it. So it still functions, you just don't see it anymore. Alright, here we have the vent I was talking about, the air intake I was talking about earlier, and here I've done a partial shelf that doesn't go all the way to the wall. And what that does, it allows me to put the housing forward enough to get the filter out. Alright, here we've got some of the tools used. I might walk through some of them, just point them out briefly. You got your framing square, the big rafter angle squares. It's nice because you can use it as a saw guide for the saw to make square cuts. Bevel gauge, good for getting the bevel of the stairs. And then I did also a profile gauge thing. Don't need one of these, but it helps to mark some of the profiles if you're going to be making fancier cuts and matching up with molding. Safety glasses, tape measure, pencils, level, saw or circular saw. Got a cordless one here. Same thing with the drill, cordless drill, cupping saw for some of your curved. Hobby rasp, so you got files and rasps. My cordless drill here, I've got this is a handy little tool. It's a drill and countersink, and then you pull this, flip it over, and it is a bit. So that way you can use one drill for both without having to switch out your bits. Screws. The screws I used on this one were interior wood screws. Number 6. About 1 5/8 Phillips. A little magnetic tray to help hold some of the screws. Some wood glue Elmer's, wood glue Max. Got some different clamps over here just to help hold things together. Hammer to help get some things tapped into place. It's just a soft face hammer. No big deal. And then these clamps right here are all lifesavers. What they do is allow you to clamp the pieces of wood together at a 90-degree angle. So that way you can, these are just small pieces, but gives you the idea. That way you can get everything lined up tight, and then that way you can drill your holes and screw in your screws and everything and have everything exactly how you want it. So those are kind of handy. Corner clamps, I guess they're called. And then some sandpaper, some 150, some 220, and then a little sanding sponge thing. So that is the tools. Okay, so I've got the bookshelves all assembled in 3 different sections and stained, and just wanted to go over a couple things before I put them all up. Some tips and pointers and whatnot. One of the things I found a bit difficult was in the planning stages was measuring the steps and how much the overhang was. And so I made this board out of some of the scrap. Basically that's so you can put it in like that and it gives you a mark so that you're marking this part up here. Gives you something better to measure against. And then one of the other things I did, I might give you a close-up as well too, is I used one of these contour gauges to get the contour of the molding. Now, I originally practiced with another scrap piece and was trying to do the exact contour and get it so that it would line up exactly right, and it would have taken me forever. And so I found that basically just a slope at the angle of the steps was good enough, and this wound up being my testing piece. And then when I did it on the final pieces, I was able to just go with this idea, just to make it nice and smooth it out. Doesn't fit the toe molding exactly like the profile gauge, but it's close enough. All right, 20 1/4.
What if the board was like that? What if the board like fell down? That'd be funny. Like this?
Now, and about this time, give it to Dominic after you catch it, okay? Here, Dominic. Alright, I might do this like a time lapse. Seeing this going together. Alright, here are the assembled shelves. They're not attached to the wall yet. They're still in the raw stage. So I'm going to take them down and disassemble them, reglue them, and then leave them in sections. I'm going to have 3 sections. I'm going to have 2 shelves, 2 shelves, 2 shelves, or 2 sections of shelves, I guess you could say. And then we'll be staining them, or gluing them and screwing them back together, and then staining them, and then finishing assembling them on the wall, attaching them to the wall, and then they'll be finished. So I might show the whole taking apart in a scene so you can see how that goes. Anyway. This top section is shelves. This middle section. And then the bottom section. Now, get serious. I know some people are going to say, oh, it's against building code to put anything on steps, any shelves, you're not supposed to stack stuff, anything. But our handrail, as you can see, is on this side of the steps. I'm going to put the bookcase on this side of the steps. Our kids are used to going up and down this side of the steps. And our steps are 4 feet wide. So they're extremely wide steps, which is handy for moving stuff up and down, but storage is not used. It is against building code, but technically this handrail here is against building code because it doesn't connect into the wall. So it could be an issue if you're going to be selling your house. I'm making these intentionally so they're going to be fastened to the wall with screws. So if we have to, if we ever go to sell the house, the future buyers, if they said, oh no, it's against code, we could take it off if it was an issue. So just keep that in mind. These may seem like illegal bookshelves, but use your own better judgment. If you've got super narrow steps and it's going to actually make it, or it would be a hazard going up and down the stairs, especially in case of a fire or other disaster, you have to get out of the house. If you've got narrow stairs, probably not something you want to do. But if you've got wide stairs like ours, should be okay. But you've been warned. Okay, this will give you an idea of exactly how big the bookcases are. And this is how I partially assembled so that they could be stained, which my mother did for me, did a great job of staining and glossing. And basically there are 3 different sections, and I'll show you that real quick. You've got the first section, the second section, and the third section. Now these joints are already glued and screwed together. I'm going to put them into the house. This makes them easier to get in there, and then we'll screw all the rest together. And I'll show you this while I'm at it. By staining while it was assembled, it allowed these edges to be untouched, I guess you'd say, by the stain, so that way it'll be a better gluing surface when we do glue and screw those together. So we'll get inside and get that done. Okay, so here we are at the end. It is stained, finished, glued, screwed, and attached to the wall, waiting for books to be put into it. So according to my calculations, this should hold about 330 books of the small romance novel type. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy.